boys and girls, we're rounding to the nearest 10 again, just like we did last week. So here's the first example, 84, rounded to the nearest 10. Put your dot above the tens, and it's your units that help you decide. The rule, 5 or bigger than 5, you go to the bigger number, less than 5, you go to the smaller number. So 84, rounded to the nearest 10, will be 80. Now, 68. Put your dot above the tens, your arrow to the units, they help you decide. Remember the rule, 5 or bigger than 5, go to the bigger number, less than 5, you go to the smaller number. Well, 8 is bigger than 5, so 68, rounded to the nearest 10 will be 70. And if you think about it, 68 is 2 away from 70, but it's actually 8 away from 60. So obviously, rounded to the nearest 10 is 70. Then we get to 893. This one's a little bit trickier, so careful. You're still rounding to the nearest 10, so please make sure that you put your dot above the tens, and it's your units that help you decide. Remember the rule, if the units are bigger than 5 or bigger than 5, you go to the bigger number, less than 5, you go to the smaller number. Well, 3 is less than 5, so 893 rounded to the nearest 10 will be 890. This is where everybody seems to make a little mistake. They think, well, I'm rounding to the nearest 10, so the answer is 90. And they would just write 90 like that. But don't forget, it's 893, so don't forget, you're still rounding to the nearest hundreds. And then this is a little tricky, because 10 more than 90 all of a sudden will impact the hundreds. So do you see how that 100 went from 8 to 9? So this one's tricky. Thinking caps on. Okay, and then you've got over here 7,119, still rounding to the nearest 10. So your two choices are going to be, careful, 7,110 or 7,120. A lot of you end up forgetting the hundreds and the thousands just because we're rounding to the nearest 10. Yes, it's these numbers here that change, but don't forget, we're still talking about numbers in the thousands. So 7,110. Put your dot above the tens. There you go. It's the units that help you decide. So 7,110 or 7,120. Well, the units, remember the rule, 5 or bigger than 5, you go to the bigger number. Less than 5, you go to the smaller number. Well, 9 is definitely the bigger number. It's bigger than 5, and there you go. If you think about it, 7,119 is only 1 away from 7,120.